Okay, so scripting in ServiceNow. So
Mm-hmm.
some feature ServiceNow like out of box it provides, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to send the notification, if you want to make the field mandatory. So many kind of other advanced features are out of box.
Yeah.
But many times, or like most of the times, once we start working with a client, we come up with certain requirements where we need to either design the tool as per the customer requirement, or maybe we want to tweak some design, or basically we want to extend the base functionality.
Yeah.
Getting my point? So in those cases, we used to need like write the scripts. They could be in the form of side script or server side script.
Mm-hmm.
So like in ServiceNow, also we use like industry standard practices for which are available like JavaScript to extend the
Mm-hmm.
application functionality. As I said, like uh,
Right.
scripting in ServiceNow also based to extend the functionality. So why do we use like to interact with database tables? So as you might aware, as you know the admin part, like there are tables in ServiceNow, right?
Right. Right.
So everything in ServiceNow is a you can understand as table. Like incident is a table, problem is a table, and
Yes.
change is a table. Then change task is another table. Come into our team. Request is a table. Then requested item is
Mm-hmm.
another table. Then task is another. So they that is basically a database. And if we go more precise, it's kind of RDBMS, relational database. Right?
Yes.
Every table is related to each other.
Mm.
So whole architecture of ServiceNow is designed on based on the table. So if you understand the table structure properly, scripting become bit easy for you.
Okay.
Okay. So why do we when we need scripting like to interact with database table, when we want to query some data from those tables, we want to update
Mm.
some data in those tables, like we want to update the incidents, we want to update as soon as user click on like close, we want to update the state of incident as closed. Okay, like on you have UI action, when you click on UI action the state field got automatically set to closed. Or maybe when we
Mm-hmm.
want to resolve the notification, a notification will automatically a notification will automatically get triggered. Then
Mm-hmm.
we want to create a new ticket from, let's say if we like we clicked on create incident, then a UI action code written in the UI action will create a new incident. Sometimes we may need to delete certain records, maybe as part of data cleanup, or
Mm.
maybe other further requirement may arise.
Mm.
Then to do the data validations as well, like while a user is submitting one form, we want he is submitting a logical data. In those cases also we write scripting to do those kind of validations. Then write to
Okay.
log files, right? Like we want to while we are doing some integration, or let's say we are receiving our data regularly from one particular third party tool through integration.
Mm.
Now we that tool is creating incident, but let's say one day the integration got failed somewhere. We
Mm-hmm.
They say we send the incident, but we are saying we didn't receive an incident table, but we don't have any log. So
Mm-hmm.
basically what we can do, we can have a design like that, where everything whatever is getting sent by that tool first get logged into the log table of ServiceNow, and then further it is getting processed, so that we can see, okay, we received it, but due to some scripting error or anything like ServiceNow was down or anything, the incident wasn't created at that time. So to
At our end, right?
what?
I mean, if suppose we have an integration with other tool, so
Yeah,
they have sent the ticket, but it was not created at our end because of
yeah, our end.
whatever issues.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if we are not putting what they have sent in logs, we won't be able to identify like whether they have sent itself, or it is kind of failure from our side or from their side itself. So we may
Right.
put a design like everything whatever they are sending, write everything in the log, and then start processing, so that we will come to know like, okay, it came from them because it's showing an entry in log, but it is not came to
Hmm.
incident table, means service now problem somewhere. Then we can
Right.
to log those files we need Sorry, to write the log files, we need the scripting. Then
Okay.
prompt user with alerts, confirmation, or messages like user have filled some wrong data on the field. We can give them alert. We can give them field message. No, you need to fill something like this. You have filled this
Hmm.
wrong thing, or maybe you cannot submit the priority one incident. All those things, all the kind of messages alert you can throw to the user on the UI or maybe at the backend level using scripting.
Hmm.
Then in workflows, you can do the scripting. You can write the scheduled job, which will certainly create kind of some scheduled data. It will run scheduled data, maybe like you have outage something. Outage, if you
Hmm.
heard about. So in ServiceNow, you
Yeah.
can create outages like, but one outage is scheduled. Now every day, whenever the outage time is arriving, maybe your requirement is uh, before 1 hour of outage, a mail should be triggered to the stakeholders, right?
What is outage? I mean, the system is down, right?
Yeah, in infrastructure, yes, its system is down, but when we like if you talk about infrastructure, like a change is raised on a server today for 4
Hmm.
to 5 p.m. means there is something getting changed on their server, that server will not be available, right? So
Hmm.
as part of change, we raise outages like for
Okay.
these 2 hours this server will not be available. It's
I mean,
not to
any
do,
other application, right? Not ServiceNow.
not service now, it's nothing to do with
Huh.
service now, it's about the, I am talking about a business scenario.
Okay.
Okay, business used to raise outage for like
Huh.
every time when you raise a change, it get raised for a CI, right?
Hmm.
You understand CI, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Configuration item. Yeah.
every time a change is always raised for a CI. Now, when the change window is there, like for 2 hour on Sunday or Monday, whatever day it is, right?
Hmm.
So at that time, let's say the RAM of that particular CI need to be changed. If RAM is need to be changed,
Okay.
then that server is need to be off, right?
Yes.
That means if there is a website hosted on that particular server, that will go down.
Correct.
So that means that is outage.
Okay. For that
Okay,
application, right?
for that
Hmm.
application. Now,
Hmm.
as part of business requirement, your client want like whenever outage is there, like 2 days before or 1 day before or 5 hour before, it called be business requirement. The required stakeholders should receive a email notification say like, so for so and so time, this particular server will be under outage or under
Okay.
maintenance, all those things, right? So how you will
Hmm.
do? For that, you need to write some scheduled job, because a scheduled job will be maybe if client want every 5 hours. So every 5 hour, your scheduled job will run and check is there any outage which is planned in next 5 hours. So though, what is the work of
Okay.
a
Okay.
scheduled job? A scheduled job basically check on a specific interval. If you have scheduled it for like every 24 hours, so a scheduled job will run in every 24 hours. What will run? The code written inside the scheduled job will run every
Mm-hmm.
24 hours, and what that code will check? That will check, go to the outage table of service now and check if there
Hmm.
is any outage planned for next 24 hours or maybe in next
Okay.
2 days, depending upon client requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So if client says no, I want a notification should trigger in every 1 hour before, so that means you may need to run your scheduled job in every hour. So your scheduled job
Okay.
will be running every hour, and it will be a code will be written inside that, and will be checking, okay, uh, check if there is any outage time 1 hour after now or something like that, and it will maybe triggering the notification. So in those cases, you
Okay.
will be using the scheduled job scripting part. Then
Okay.
events, you
Okay.
can trigger the notification through events. Then to interact with third-party web services, obviously you need scripting,
Okay.
integration part.
Mm-hmm.
So in ServiceNow, basically you get a script editor that you need to be familiar with. So where you write a script. So in
Is it
ServiceNow,
background script?
no, not background script. Background script is a one place of script.
Okay.
So you can write a script in ServiceNow at multiple places. right? It could be a business rule, it could be a client script, it could be a script include, it could be a workflow scripting, it can be notification scripting, anywhere you can write. Anyway,
Okay.
now
Fixed script is also one option.
fixed script is also one. Like these are kind of on-demand script. Whatever logic you have written, you can like whenever you need, you can come to this and you can run it on demand.
Okay. Okay.
It's not
It's just
something.
like a scheduled job, right?
No, that is the main difference between schedule job. Schedule job run on a periodic intervals.
Okay.
However, fixed script doesn't run on periodic interval. It's kind of on demand. So when you need to run
Okay.
this, you will have to come to this fixed script and you will have to run the fixed script manually.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of alternative to background script service now is provided. So in through background
Oh.
script we run one-time queries, right? If you know.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So, but once you close the browser, background script is gone. Like after
Right.
5 days, you again need to run same script. You have to again write. So
Mm-hmm.
ServiceNow has provided you alternative like write the script in fixed script, keep it saved. Whenever you need, run it manually.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but this I was talking about this script editor.
Okay.
This script field. Wherever you can write
Yes.
the script, you will find this.
Okay.
This is the
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
one
Right.
main thing which you will find in each type of scripting, being business tool, client script, or any.
Mm-hmm.
So this script editor basically will give you some hints as well based on which type of scripting you are writing. So
Okay.
if like fixed script is a server side script. So if I will
Okay.
write a server side class GS dot, then it gives me hint as well.
Yes. Yes.
So GS means a class. Under that class, what has ServiceNow is provided, what functions, like if you want to show the message, error message or whatever, if you want to get the next day or something like that, it will give you the help. So this is one
Okay.
feature of this script editor. Another feature is something like you can use double slash to comment it, or what you can
Mm-hmm.
do, you can select the code which you need to comment, and this first, you see this first part, toggle comment, you
Mm-hmm.
can click on this one as well, and your code will be, sorry, yeah, so your code will get commented.
Okay.
To comment this, basically you have shortcut as well, just type double slash and the code is
Yeah.
commented. And one more thing, ServiceNow has provided as part of its script editor, like commenting through this one. Now
Okay.
like these are the basic things which you can use in your while doing the scripting, like if test, something like this, if you are writing any code like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may need to align this code. Anyway, so you
Mm-hmm.
can click on code format, it will align the code as per the standard practices, how the code should be
Okay.
formatted. So the second one is to format your code.
So is it there in everywhere? I
Yes,
mean, business rules, client script.
yes,
Okay.
this same editor you will find everywhere wherever you can write the script.
It is standard, right, for
Yeah, it's a
ServiceNow?
standard.
Okay.
Then here you can find next and all those things to find something in your code when you have 200 300 lines of code, then to search
Mm-hmm.
something, all those features. Then this is one more feature important which you might be using like quite regularly. It
Mm-hmm.
is something expanding this window.
Okay.
So you might not be comfortable when you are writing 300 400 lines of code in this much of window, scrolling it like this, because once you will
Mm-hmm.
start typing, it will be like you will get the scroller there.
Mm. Okay. So there is one requirement where we need to send the notification
Mhm.
to some users, right, on a demand basis. Okay. So how we achieved it using that scheduled job. I mean, he changed the time, that person, and he ran that script on that time. I mean, just in next 1 minute like that, instead of fixed script.
Like what was the requirement? I need to.
Where we need to send a notification. For example, we were planning for an upgrade, so we need to send the notification to stakeholders using ServiceNow. Okay.
Okay.
So in the scheduled job, there was a scheduled job created to send the notification. So instead of using fixed script, that guy has used scheduled job, and he changed the time actually. This like for next 5 minutes that should trigger that email. Instead
Like
of
if
like,
is it something like you need to send it regularly?
no, it was on demand.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you
whenever we
can
need.
do from there as well, but like it's there are like you can do from background script as well, right? That is what. So if
So
there is
fixed script should
already,
be the better option, right?
see if there is an already process written, because scheduled job you can also run on demand.
Okay.
Okay, so you get, if you are not putting anything, you can run them on demand. So if they have like previously put the solution there, then they can use that.
Right. Okay.
So like you can run there are multiple way for to do the things, but to like saving the scripting and to run on demand, now we have fixed script. So you can use fixed script as well.
Okay.
Then to expand this, we have this. Then this save button is also there to save your code. If you will click on this, it will save whole record.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you don't want to do this, you can right click on this header and
Okay.
save it, or use the update button. So this or updating from here or saving from here, all will save your code.
Okay.
So these are basic things which you need to remember.
So can we use fixed script also to send notifications, email
Yes,
notifications?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
See, notification is not getting sent by fixed script. It is getting sent by what we
Email
say.
notifications.
Not even like through event queue. There is a function called event queue.
Okay.
That will trigger the notification. Even that will not trigger the notification. That will trigger the event, and event will trigger the notification. So wherever you
and
can
how
write
this
that.
code will use?
How?
How the script part will be used when we need to send that notification.
Yeah, so see, wherever you can, this gs.add event queue is one function which triggers this message. So wherever you can run the server side script, you can write it. Server side script, you can either write it through background script, fixed script, scheduled job. You can send the notification from workflows as well, but not on demand.
Okay.
So you have a function called gs.eventQueue, and that is a server side function. Wherever you can write the function, you can trigger the notification from there.
Okay.
We will be covering that.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So in terms of scripting in ServiceNow, mainly ServiceNow script falls in two categories. That is client script and server script. Do you have idea about client script and server script?
Yeah. Client is basically on the browser side, and server is basically where we interact with the database.
Database, yes.
Yeah.
So when like client is something which you want to do on the form which is presented to the user, right?
Right.
So if you want to not allow user to like without filling the field to submit the form, all those validations you can do
Validations.
client script. Then server script is something where you need to update some records in database, you need to delete some records from database or query some records from database, or you maybe for an example, if a parent incident is closed, then closing all child incident, all those kind of things you do from server side script.
Okay.
Today we will start client part because client is bit kind of bit easy and not that much vast, so it will be
Okay.
easy to start grasping what I thought.
Yeah.
So mainly client side, if we talk about, we mainly have the client script, major part, client script
Mm-hmm.
in ServiceNow. You can also write the
Mm-hmm.
script in UI policies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, mainly scripting part comes for the client script, and we have two classes. Okay, so if I talk about class, what exactly is the class? Class is a predefined kind of set of functions which gives you some of properties and functions and method to do certain operations or certain validation.
Okay.
Okay, so like if we want to make the field mandatory, then there should be some code, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we need to write the script, we need to make the field mandatory, then there should be some code. What that code will be?
Mm-hmm.
Either a plain JavaScript, but in ServiceNow we
Mm-hmm.
don't run plain JavaScript. So ServiceNow has provided its own classes.
Okay.
Okay, they are based on JavaScript, but they are not pure
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript.
Okay.
Kind of ServiceNow has put their layer on those JavaScript functions and created their own classes. So ServiceNow has
Okay.
provided glide form and glide user. In ServiceNow, we call it API, application. I forgot the full
Okay.
name. So
Yeah.
we have two APIs or two classes for the client scripting, that is glide form and glide user. Okay. Then
Mm-hmm.
why we will go into these classes in detail. So why we will basically write the client script and when we will write the client script.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, let me go to the instance, and if I open the incident form, okay, I just want to give a alert to the user once before user submits the form.
Mm.
So that thing I cannot do from server side because server is not understandable or like not like available to the end user. So to give them an alert, I need to do something through client. Client is browser
Okay.
because
Yeah.
browser is something end user can see.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
Right.
is happening on this form, that is only available to the end user, right? Business
Yeah.
user. What you are doing in backend, updating child record or XYZ, when he will open here, then only he can see anything.
Hmm.
So if I am saying, like if user is changing the priority of incident, let me submit one incident.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say user has submitted an incident. Now business
Hmm.
says, as soon as someone changes the priority of a previously submitted ticket, the work note should be mandatory.
Okay.
Okay. So can you do it?
Hmm.
Is it a client requirement or server requirement?
Client.
Client, because where the change will be happening,
Browser.
browser. That is what you need to identify. If client
Okay.
is saying once you change, as soon as someone changes the priority, he need to put the comments in the ticket or
Mm-hmm.
work notes in the ticket. So that means from where if you think in the real time, end user or
Hmm.
some support user, from where he can change the command. He cannot run background script, right? He don't
Mm-hmm.
have permission to write the script in the service now, even if he is a kind of end user, but he knows ServiceNow very well, but he don't have that
Hmm.
much access in ServiceNow to run the background script and he will change the priority from background. That he cannot
Hmm.
do for sure, right? In real time
Yeah.
scenario. There is just one place from where he can change. He can change it through opening the form in a browser,
Right.
right? Once he will open the form in the browser, that means everything now I need to control from client side.
Okay.
Okay. Now, as a end user, I am changing the priority. Now, requirement, as soon as I change the priority, the comments work notes will be mandatory and they are getting mandatory. Now,
Okay, it became mandatory.
yeah, if I will not make them mandatory, he can submit the ticket without making mandatory.
Right.
Right. So that is where now I need to write a client side code, and there is one thing which is available on the client side is client script.
Okay.
That is where you need to identify, like, now let's say if a requirement came into the picture, like, okay, this is a parent ticket, and
Hmm.
here let me configure the related list.
So you have already written that client script, right? Where it was making work note field mandatory.
This is out of box feature.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So that is happening through a client script.
Okay.
Previously it didn't used to come,
Okay.
but now it used to come. So that is where
The new
ServiceNow
version.
says we are reducing code. So if you will
Hmm.
see the versions of Calgary, Fuji, that much of validations and all wasn't there. These all things we need to write manually.
Okay. Okay.
By the time it is kind of
But
getting into,
ServiceNow must also be writing the codes, right? To
yeah,
achieve that.
yeah, that's what I am saying. Out of box means ServiceNow has already written it.
So even if suppose ServiceNow writes that code or we write the code, is it not same?
No, it's not same.
Okay.
See, if you will write the code, that will come as a custom. And if
Uh,
ServiceNow will write the code, that will be applied to all customer instance. If you will write the code, that will get applied to your instance only.
okay. Okay.
Getting my point? It's not
Uh,
because requirement for Airtel could be different, requirement for Vodafone could be
hmm.
different, requirement for State Bank could be different. So if
Hmm.
ServiceNow will give you access, like if you are writing a code in your instance, that will be applied to Vodafone's instance. Then there is no meaning of ServiceNow.
Okay.
Security
Got it.
breach, right? You are
Yeah.
penetrating in someone instance. So your instance, your customer instance to only yours. It's
Hmm.
not going to impact globally in ServiceNow. But when
Yes. Yes. Yes.
ServiceNow writes a code in the tool, that means
Hmm.
once you will upgrade, that code will come into your instance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now, previously, as I said, we used to write these codes. Now, the
Hmm.
same scenario, once we will upgrade, both code will be there. Now, you will have to decide which one you need to keep. So it's a wise decision once ServiceNow has given the feature. Try to
Hmm.
eliminate your custom feature because in future, ServiceNow may top up some other functionality on that.
Okay.
Because it happens today, there is that feature is not available in instance, and day after, like in next upgrade, service now has provided it as out of box. Then you will have to
Hmm.
deactivate yours one, or you have to decide like you want to use yours or service now one. You have to deactivate one.
Hmm. Okay.
So let's say I will add some problems here. So like child problem to this incident, maybe the problem opened for this particular incident, like when this incident was raised to do the RCA,
Hmm.
problems was
Yeah.
opened. Now, let's say requirement is something like this. Once this incident is closed, all the
Hmm.
related problems would got closed, right?
Okay.
Now, is it going to handled by client?
No, it is browser
It,
database.
it's database because client user don't know. User will not do that part. That part should automatically done by tool.
At
Now,
the
tool,
database, right?
yeah, tool
Hmm.
need to update the problem. And where are the problems? In the database, in the table
Hmm.
problem.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So right now, on update, I need to find a trigger. On update of this incident, I need to update these problems.
Right.
So that is something which should happen after the form is submitted. If the form is submitted, means you have lost the control from browser level.
Correct.
When this incident will be marked as closed? Once the state of this particular record will be committed as closed in the database.
Right.
Right? When this will commit? Once you will submit the form.
Mm-hmm.
Once you submit the form, that means control is gone from users and now it's the control is with database.
Right.
And requirement was once this incident is closed, all the child problems would close. Now control is not in user's hand, control is in
Mm-hmm.
database hand. That means I need to write a code at database level.
Mm-hmm.
And that means server side code. And now it could be business rule or anything, but obviously that will be business rule.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we need to differentiate which type of code we need to write based on the requirement. We need to analyze whether the
Okay.
event is happening on server level or event is happening on the browser level itself.
Okay. Okay.
Some events, some requirement you will find you can achieve it through browser as well. You can achieve it through
Client.
server side as well, like on the client side and
Mm-hmm.
server side both. Now it comes
Okay.
upon client's requirement, what client want actually.
Mm-hmm.
So if I give you an example, give you an example. Okay, maybe there is a this CI field, service field. Okay, so
Yes.
client says they I will create one more field here. Okay, one more field XYZ. Now there is
Mm-hmm.
some value of this service. Let's say software group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say client has the requirement as soon as you select the service, the assignment group
Mm-hmm.
should be picked from whatever is assigned to approval group on the or support group on the service.
Okay.
Okay, now client's requirement is that as soon as you change the service, whatever service is selected, the assignment group should,
Corresponding.
yeah,
Hmm.
assignment group should be the support group of that service.
Okay.
Now you can do it through client script as well, like as soon as someone changes this particular group, you can populate this, or you don't populate it as soon as someone change. Once someone saves it, then change it.
Okay. Okay. So either
But
through client script or business
or
rule.
business rule, but there is a difference. If you will do it
Mm-hmm.
through client script, the assignment group will be updated in the real time. But if you will do it
Mm-hmm.
on the server side, business through
Mm-hmm.
business rule, that will not get updated in real time. Once you
Mm-hmm.
will save it, and then it will update.
Yes. And user will come back to see this incident record, then he should be able to see that assignment group,
Yeah.
right?
So if you will write the client script, as soon as you will change the new service, you
Mm-hmm.
will see the new assignment group updated here. But if you will
Okay.
write through business rule, and when business rule runs, once you save the form,
Yes. So before saving, it will never run, right? Business
no,
rule.
no, because they are database level transaction. And until and
Okay.
unless you save it, that is still on browser.
Hmm.
Business rule is database level transaction. To do it
But there
through
are before on load, on display, all those things were also there, right? In business rule.
all those runs on the database level. Like before, if we
Okay.
talk about the form is submitted from browser, like control is gone from users end. Now the record is going to commit into the database before that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it's kind of middle state. Form is submitted from the browser, like control is not submitted, we will say control is gone from users end, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's about to get submitted in the database. Before that,
Hmm.
whatever code you want to run, you write in before business rule.
So it will always happen when we click on save or update, right? This business rule will take into action. I mean,
Yes.
only
So
after that. Okay.
you, if you will go to the table, and if you will see configure business rule,
Hmm.
you will find like 58 business rules written on the incident or task.
Hmm.
Getting my point? So all the business rule where you have the type as type, where is the type? I think it's type only.
So task business rule will also be applicable for incident.
Yes, parents, whatever code written on parent get applied to server,
Oh,
sorry, child
I
as
mean the
well.
child.
It's
Okay.
by default in case of server side scripting. Mark the point.
Okay. Okay.
So in case of server side scripting, it's by default,
Okay. Okay.
not in client side. Client side, you will have to explicitly define it whether you want this code to run on childs or not.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So here, if we see when we have kind of like 28 before business rule written on incident table or task table. So all these will get executed each and every time, when you save a incident form or update, whatever basically conditions will be there, like you have conditions as well, right? So they should also met. So like
Yes.
here, every update, like here we have condition like when assignment group assigned to all these changes, then only this will run. So as soon as you save the form and before submission, system will analyze all the before business rule, whether it need to be run or not.
Okay.
If the condition is met, then that business rule will run. If condition not met, it will ignore.
Okay. I was thinking before, like before means before submitting or saving the form.
No. Form
So it will
is,
always in the between, right?
yeah,
Between
between.
stage.
So control is
Okay.
gone from your hand, and even it's
Hmm.
not committed in database before that.
Okay.
Okay.
And how to understand if these business rules are out of the box or created by admin?
See, mostly you come to know if you will see here
Created, right?
created by.
Uh-huh.
In created by, mostly you will see the names of admin and glidement, these kind of
Mm-hmm.
names, Fred, Ludi, Pat. These are kind of common names which you see. That means these are out of box.
So this Jewel Solegue this is a name, right? Or is it
Yeah,
also out of the box?
it's out of box by like created by ServiceNow person.
Acha. I mean, is there any way? Because whenever we also create any business rule, it will show created by our name or admin.
No, your name. So whosoever is creating, so you can like, it's just the way is like some people organization create the user ID with the email address.
Mm-hmm.
So ServiceNow one you will find mostly with the admin and glidement.
Okay, 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 okay.
That is the only identifier
Mm-hmm.
you can find out.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So now this is we were there, generate alert confirmation. I think now you are able to understand when to write client and when to server.
Mm-hmm.
Like populate form fields in response to another field, validate data, modify choice list, hide or show fields or sections. So all those are client side actions, right? Field where you can hide also logically.
Modify choice list options. Can you show it once?
Yeah. So if I go to incident, so here we have choices, right? So if I want to
Okay.
show some choices to a particular set of users, some choices to particular set of user,
Hmm.
then I need to hide it, right? I want, like, if ITIL user is opening this form, then he can see software, hardware, database. But if ITIL user is not opening, then uh, only inquiry should be available.
Okay, okay, okay.
Getting my point?
So this we cannot achieve using UI policy, right?
You can write the, as I said, you can write the code in UI policy, but not by default actions.
Without writing a code, we cannot.
Yeah, you cannot achieve.
Okay.
Okay.
So is it better to write a code in using client script rather than UI policy whenever we
This
need to
kind
write?
of things, it's better like to write the through
Client script.
Yeah.
And where to use this UI policy thing? I mean, how to identify those things?
UI policy is mainly, keep in mind, wherever you need to make read-only mandatory and visible, and your conditions are achievable. Then write client is, consider writing UI policy first to do this part.
Okay.
Wherever you can achieve these three things through UI policy, consider writing that.
And no need to write any scripting in UI policy. If there is a need of script, then we can achieve it through client.
If you can achieve these mandatory read only, something like that, and additionally on the same conditions, you just want to do a bit of scripting, like you want to make some field empty or something like that, small script you can write there.
Okay.
Right, you are achieving one thing through these three, out of these three things through UI policy. Now on the same condition, you need to write a bit of small, making a category mandatory or category, like category empty or clear, you want to clear the value. Now no need to write the like client script. Basically you are writing two codes, so you can put the same small codes there itself. That's why ServiceNow has provided you the scripting portion as well.
And which runs first, policy, right, or client script?
No, first client script runs and then UI policy. So whatever client script, if the same task, like for the same field, if client script is making mandatory, and after that, if the UI policy is running and that is saying non-mandatory, then our end result will be non-mandatory.
Okay.
So now then hide show field on the section. So this requirement itself says like where I need to be written. Hide show field or section, like which code you need to write basically. If I say hide show field or section, do you need to do this on database level? Logically, does this make sense? No, because fields where you see on the browser,
form,
right? And the form opens in the browser. And if we talk about browser, that means it need to be run through client only.
But this hide and show field, we can do it through UI policy also, right?
Yeah, UI policy only. Like UI policy is also a client side code only, right?
Oh, okay. Is it a client side? Okay.
Yeah, UI policy is a client side code.
Okay. So all these use cases that you have listed here can be, we can try achieving using UI policy or client script wherever applicable.
Yeah, client side code. So these are use cases for client side.
Client side. Okay.
Okay. Now coming to, do you have any doubts till here?
No, I think that is clear. Yeah.
So I am just trying to make you understand like when to choose what.
Yes,
you feel
that is important. Yeah.
Bit of theory, but I am trying to give you scenarios and trying to make you decide when to write what.
Correct. Okay. That will be important actually. Yeah.
Now coming to technical part of client script. So we have 4 types of client script in ServiceNow. One is called as on load, another one is on change, on submit, and on cell edit. So as name suggests, they run on different events.
Okay.
Different events means on load. So on load runs when you want, when the form is loading, right? If you have clicked on open incident list, and when you open a list, this at this particular time, when at the time the form you clicked on to open the form, and before the form is presented to you, a code has already ran and rendered the form.
Understood. Yeah. So it's already loaded when
Yeah,
we see this page.
yeah.
Hmm.
So whatever things like you want user to be rendered on the form before presenting it to the user, you write it in onload client script.
Okay.
Coming to our previous example,
Hmm.
inquiry, we want to show if the user logged in user is non-ITL, and all other we want to show if logged in user is non-ITL.
Okay.
That means if I am a ITIL user, before
Hmm.
this form is presented to me, before that
Hmm.
only these things should get controlled, right? If I am
Okay.
an end user, now I can see all those. So before form is presented to me, these four choices should be removed.
Hmm. Right.
So whatever you want to do on your form, whatever changes you want to do on your form, before form is presented to the user, you write it in onload client script.
Okay. Okay.
Got it?
Yes. Yes.
So that's what here I have written, like setting field or form level messages based on the presence of value. Basically, you want to set many messages, or maybe you want to hide some choices based on logged in users access or group membership or role. Before the form is presented to the user, you use onload client script.
So generally, it might be useful only in case of logged in user, right? Whenever there is a requirement, we need to change the fields based on the logged in user. Generally, I
Logged
think
in
we can.
user uses group membership, or
Okay.
if the ticket you opened is a priority one ticket, then there should be these
Okay.
fields. If
Okay.
the
Okay.
ticket you opening priority two, then these fields should be there. All those things you can do. There could be
Okay.
there
Okay.
could be n number of scenarios. You cannot be
Mm-hmm.
specific to logged in user.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
if the
Okay.
contact type is email, then there should be a field called XYZ. Getting my point?
Mm-hmm.
If contact type is in phone, then there should be a field should be visible as phone. All those things can be there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So if I am opening an existing record, right, then
Huh.
these, if the phone is there, then this, the phone field should be presented to me before the form is loaded, right?
Yes. Yes.
That means I need to write it in onload. So whatever changes
Uh,
you want to do.
Sorry. Can you repeat?
Yeah, so what example I was trying to give you, like if the requirement is if user is opening a record where the contact type is phone, a phone field should be available here. If user is opening the contact type email field, then a email field should be available, form field should go away, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that
So that
means
will be on load, on
on load,
change.
because before the form is presented to the user, this change should get applied to the form.
Okay. Okay.
User should see that thing. Like if your contact type is email there, then he should, before the form is presented to him, the email field should be available on the form.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my point? So
Okay.
whatever changes you want to do before the form is presented to the user at the form level, you need to write in onload client script.
On load. Okay. At the first level of interaction,
First level,
with
yeah,
the
you can
user.
say.
Yeah. Okay.
On change is something uh, when you want to do basically user something changing on the form, based on that certain other things should change. Now
Mm-hmm.
you have seen, we have discussed two example previously for the client script, and they were on change. Okay, you remember I was changing this priority,
Yes.
and this work notes was getting mandatory.
Hmm.
Okay, let me now reload. Is this work note mandatory when form is presented to you?
No.
No, we just reloaded and form was presented to us. The work note is not mandatory. Now, as
Hmm.
soon as I change this priority, see what is happening.
This. this will become mandatory.
Yeah. See, work node is getting
Mandatory.
mandatory. So what is happening on change event? So on change of a particular field on the form,
Hmm.
if you want to run a certain code, that
Hmm.
you write in on change. So
Right.
if I change the priority, then work node should be mandatory. Tomorrow customer gives you the requirement, okay, work node is happening mandatory. If I am changing the priority, the command should also be mandatory. Which type of script you will consider writing?
Client script.
And on change client script.
Yeah, on change. On
Right.
change. So yeah, right.
If you will write on load, that means always the work nodes will be mandatory. So even
Yes.
if user just opened the form and he just wanted to change the state, then also
Hmm.
he need to put the comment, and that was not the requirement, right?
Hmm.
So you need to choose the correct type of configuration. So in this case, we need to write on change. Another example, if you see here, let me reload again.
Hmm.
So if I change the state, if I am putting on hold, see, one more field is appearing here.
Yeah. So is it also out of the box or is it
Yeah, this
custom
is out
built?
of box.
Okay.
So it's saying, okay, you are putting the ticket in on hold, just select the on hold reason. Was this field previously available on the form? No.
No, this is on change of field. So
On
this
change
must be
of
a
field.
through client script
Yeah. So
on change.
there will be a client script written which will say, let me just, if you want, I
New
can
field to be added in the form.
figure. Field will be there. See, every
Uh,
field is there.
hmm.
Client script doesn't create the new field. Field is already there.
Field is already there. Yeah.
It's just removing or adding. Means hide. It is either hiding
Unhiding.
or yeah,
Yeah.
unhiding. So if you
Uh-huh.
will go to the client script and
Hmm.
if we see here, make mandatory.
On hold, maybe something related to.
On change of priority. See, this is on change of priority. It's description. You cannot make the description blank because description we are setting as mandatory. This is inactive.
Okay.
So easy knowledge. Where is that code?
Maybe he's achieving it using different thing, not using client script. That part.
So here, if you see this work node thing, right?
Hmm.
Here, there is a client script written on incident, type on change, field name, priority. But it's saying
Hmm.
on change of priority
Hmm.
if new value is equal to old value. That means if you are changing the priority, but it's similar to what previously it was, then do nothing. But if you are changing the priority, then make the work notes as true. True means this is syntax, make it mandatory.
Hmm.
So this is how you can write the on change script depending upon the requirement you are getting. Then coming to on submit part, on submit is something which
Just
runs
that. Just a second. For that on hold, we couldn't find right client script.
on hold. Yeah, I didn't see any client
Maybe they
script.
have achieved
No,
it using different thing, right?
there
Not
could be
through.
UI policy.
Okay. Okay.
On change of,
Yeah. UI policy must be there. Like it's hiding and non-hiding, na?
yeah. So if you see here, it should be,
Yeah.
yeah.
This here is just
When
on hold.
state is on hold, the on hold region field should be mandatory.
Right.
So see, your logics or concepts should be clear there. If you will try
Hmm.
searching, try troubleshooting, there should be something
Correct.
out of those only. Like
Correct.
here, we are seeing it is getting mandatory. So what are the mandatory? What are the things in the system which can make it mandatory? Either UI policy or client script. So we didn't find anything in client script. There
The
will
UI
be a UI
policy.
policy, and we found the UI policy, right? So
Right, right,
you
right,
should
right.
know the component, then troubleshooting will automatically happen, because
Correct,
you
correct.
will create a circle then, right? If you are getting the
Yes,
issue,
yes.
now
Hmm.
your client gives the requirement like, okay, I want the on hold state there, but I don't want this on hold region to become mandatory. It should be non-mandatory. Means if
Hmm,
user
hmm,
want to
hmm.
select, they can select. If they don't, they no. It should not force user to select.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
Now
hmm.
what you have to do? You have to change this out of box
Need to change the
configuration.
yes, UI policy.
So to change the
So I will
configuration,
make it visible, but I'll not make it mandatory.
yeah. So but to change it first, you need to think from where it is happening, right? You need to find that configuration.
Hmm.
Getting my point? If you will write another UI policy on top of this, it will not work, because one will try to make mandatory, another one will try to
Ah,
make non-mandatory. So sometime it may work, sometime it may not work, because both will
hmm.
collide.
Correct.
So to achieve this, making it non-mandatory according to your client requirement, you will have to find the existing configuration and then you have to modify it, or you deactivate it, write new one. But you have to do something with existing, either deactivate or modify it.
Okay. So first we need to see what are the existing ones, right? So that we can take a decision how to
Obviously,
achieve the
if
new requirement.
some configuration is already written, you have to
Hmm.
remove that first. It's something like similar to, you have written this code and then ServiceNow has given similar kind of feature. Now both will collide, right, in your instance, because your
Hmm.
code will also try to do something and out of box one will also try to do something.
Correct, correct.
Now here this is out of box, it is making
Yes.
state mandatory. But now instead of modifying this one according to your requirement, where you did not to make it mandatory, you written one more UI policy or client script. Now what will happen? Both will start
Hmm.
colliding. Sometime this will
Correct.
run first, sometime yours will run first. Or maybe if you
Hmm.
have written client script, so there could be thousands of scenario where it may fail or sometime it may work. To avoid that situation, you have to find out the existing configuration which is doing this feature and then modify it, or deactivate that and then write yours.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so for that you need to understand what all places are there in ServiceNow, or what all configurations are there in ServiceNow which can make a field mandatory, visible, or read only. Two things,
Hmm.
either UI policy or client script. Go to UI policies and client script, try to find out that. You will find one of these. What that is what we seen, right? We first search client script, we didn't find.
Hmm.
Then we go
Yeah.
to UI policy, we found it. Now we can
Correct.
open it and modify it accordingly.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Next thing is your on submit client script.
Hmm.
On submit client script is something which runs when you submit the form.
Okay.
Okay, like you filled everything, on change on load happened. Then when as soon as you try to submit the form,
Hmm.
then something runs that is called as on submit.
Okay. But it is
Okay,
still not on the server side, right? When
but
it
it's
is
still not server
something
side. Submit happening,
before.
which is happening through browser.
Hmm.
You do a transaction through browser as well, right? Then that
Hmm.
transaction got passed to server.
Yes.
So the transaction, submit transaction, which is happening at browser level. Okay,
Okay.
means here once you click save here, that means you are doing it on the browser level. Now
Hmm.
what you given as a submit will do a commit in database.
Hmm.
Okay, so once you as a user submits the form, if you need to write some code that at that place, then you basically write on submit client script. So what could be the examples, right?
Hmm.
If user is trying to submit a, let's say your business process says like a end user cannot submit a high priority ticket.
Hmm.
Okay, so here he selected the high priority, all those things. Now as he tries to submit it, you may write a
Hmm.
client script which checks if the priority is high or not. If the priority is high, and if he checks like, is the user end user? Yes. If the end user is end user and priority is high, you can give the message to the user, you are not allowed to submit one priority one incident. You need to contact to service desk or something, and you stop the submission.
Okay.
So basically, on submit mainly is limited where you want to restrict the submission of the form based on certain conditions.
Okay.
To basically on submit, you will not find that much of use. You will find, but not that vast. It is mostly you will use to restrict the submission by the user. If certain conditions are not met on your form, whatever user is trying to submit. Like here, if he is trying to submit a priority one incident which is not allowed by your organization, or there could be other conditions as well.
So mainly we'll be using on change, on load, right? Or on change is
On
the
change,
most
yeah,
one.
on load. On change, on load, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then another is on cell edit, which basically doesn't run on the form level, it runs on the list level. If user is trying to modify something through list or something, then you don't want to allow him if he is modifying all this.
Okay.
Those type of script are on cell edit, which also you will not use much.
Okay.
I would say even 1% times you will not use.
Oh, okay. Okay. Fine.
So if you are good with on load and on change, client scripting part will be kind of strong for you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Now coming to these client scripting parts, do you have any doubt, anything? No.
so theoretically it is fine because I just want to do it some hands-on now, right? Maybe before our next class, so that will helpful because otherwise I'll forget everything.